All right, another Universe Mode session, another week. We're on the final week to Night of Champions, the go-home shows. What's up is the Bellas are finally supporting each other. We get the same #1 contenders match, and Kane is in the main event with John Cena? What the hell? We welcome you back live to Monday Night Raw in Memphis, Tennessee, and Mark Henry out with a new white attire. And of course, he opens the show against everybody's favorite former Intercontinental Champion, Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler is still on a massive quest to regain his, I guess not regain, but to get the US title off of Drew McIntyre. But Mark Henry, he just wants to beat people up. He doesn't really care about titles. Tonight, we'll see who wins out in that war. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I did all the talking about Dolph Ziggler for Mark Henry's section. That's my fault. I'm just gonna skip this one. And immediately a power slam, and he's already got a signature. Okay, I thought that was supposed to be exclusive to The Undertaker, but I am wrong. Thankfully, Mark can't grab for shit, so we just win anyways. And as this being the last show for Monday Night Raw, we have to wonder, why has Raw not announced a single member of the Night of Champions match when SmackDown basically has? I feel like Raw has lost the plot a little bit. Hell, last week they didn't even have top guys on the show, and tonight they don't really either. Tonight's main event is John Cena versus Kane. Are they really that sure of Raw? Are they trying to build new stars with the talent that they have versus using the stars they already have? Do they think they need to build a new era of wrestling for their program when they already have all the needs? Maybe Raw's general manager is starting to become to paranoia and anxiety. Maybe he doesn't think what he's doing is correct. But either way, Raw's got to figure it out. Next month is SummerSlam, and that's got to be a big show. Dolph Ziggler going up to the top rope, missing the elbow on Mark Henry by just a few seconds. I ran out of commentary lines very quickly. I was trying to think of something, and it's like, there's a reason why they tell people what to say. You just cannot think of shit to say, especially after it's technically been more than the usual time in between recordings. What? For the fact that I edited that Lethal session as a little bonus. And there will be another bonus video this week. But, and you'll see what I mean, it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a banger. And Dolph is now just bullying Mark Henry into doing what he wants. Wait, but Dolph with a poke to the eye, making Mark realize that his strategy has gotta be switched up. And yep, somehow, some way, Dolph picked up Mark Henry. But wait a minute, Dolph Ziggler's hitting the snapmare. What a huge move. And that's Sheamus? What's Sheamus doing out of here? I wonder. No, genuine question. But Dolph's got Mark in the sleeper hold. But Sheamus is getting involved. Yep. Mark tapped out, but he doesn't know. And now he's just famous or straight to Sheamus. And here we go. He's just beating the crap out of Sheamus, but Sheamus is smarter than that. Trying to send him back into the ring, but Dolph just simply won't allow it. And now Mark Henry taking this time to, remember, ref counts reversals as defense. For some reason, Sheamus manages to get Dolph off him for the moment. But clothesline down for Mark Henry. And I think Dolph's going back for more. You can't get Dolph off you that easily. It's just not possible. But now Sheamus doesn't want the smoke. Famous or straight to Mark Henry. You can see Sheamus running right there. Dolph is just attacking Mark Henry with a flurry of offense, making sure that he can't get back up from this attack. And that is a snapmare. Someone tried to start the chant that Sheamus sucks. Snapmare. Dolph could tap out Mark right here, but he wants to hit him with a zigzag instead for an easy pin count fall. That's 1, 2, 3. Sheamus didn't need to do that. I don't know what his problem is. That's a genuine question. What is his problem? That did nothing for the rankings, mainly because it actually did do something for the rankings. It moved Mark off the rankings and moved MVP up and put John Morrison in there instead. And it's Michelle McCool versus the Bellas. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a minute since we have had a Divas contest on Monday Night Raw, but tonight we have a special occasion. The Bellas are actually supporting each other instead of just fighting each other. Michelle McCool, Brie Bella, and Nikki Bella are all in the same match, but instead of it being a triple threat, the Bellas are in one of the other Bellas' corners. I think it's Brie and Nikki, but I'm not too sure. I could just wait and see, but I'd rather talk about the fact that Michelle McCool is pretty much undefeated. I don't think I remember a single match where she has lost clean. And of course, the Bella twins, the old adage is you can look but you can't touch. And of course, it's Nikki Bella. And I can tell because she's wearing red, she's wearing white. Everything works out. Does it matter? No, not really. I do think Nikki still loses. And Michelle McCool immediately hitting Nikki Bella. What did we expect? And Nikki gets the upper hand of Michelle McCool. Oh, my lord. Never mind. Immediately. Oh, wait. A competitive match could be on the way for these two. But, of course, Michelle isn't going to make Nikki's life any easier. It never can be easy. It has to be hard for the Bellas. I don't think Michelle would have it any other way. And honestly, maybe even the Bellas wouldn't have it any other way. I imagine they'd rather fight this uphill battle than go to SmackDown where they'd never be used. At least they always get used in the women's match. Is that better than not getting used? Is always losing? You're getting paid, aren't you? Getting paid specifically on more than just the house show circuit. Nikki is just not letting Michelle get anything off, but that's not going to be up to her in a second. Yep, there it is. The massive suplex slam. And now Michelle McCool setting Nikki up properly. She's gonna hit the spear. And with a spear comes a faith breaker. Unless Nikki does something. That's a power bomb. Michelle's going for the wrong thing, and it's causing her to be wrong. Going to the outside. And Nikki Bella now just taunting on the inside, but Michelle wasn't thrown out, so instead it leads to her getting her faith entirely broken. I love Paddock. When nobody used managers in the old SVR games, all they ever did was this shit. They never fucking did anything for you, except for maybe take a hit on accident. No, you just fucking sat there, and then boom, I won the match. Michelle McCool wins. What did you expect? The rankings are not updated this time for realsies, and Michelle McCool and Brie Bella's relationship was worse. How could it get worse? Anyways, for like the third straight month in a row, it's gonna be the Straightest Society versus the Hart Foundation. We welcome you back to Monday Night Raw, and if I'm gonna be dead ass, CM Punk and Luke Gallows are back. The Straight Edge Society cannot leave this place alone. And of course, with them comes no alcohol, no drugs, no nothing. Just being pure and sober. And somehow, this has led them to 3 straight months of title shots against the Puerto Rican Pridefuls. You think they'd still be fighting for the tag titles every week if Jericho still existed? You think they'd be fighting for a week if they let Airborne or the UK have a chance? I don't think so. I'm starting to think the Raw general manager has a little bias for the tag division, since these matches almost always happen on Raw, which means that he gets to decide the contenders. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a number 1 contender match for the tag titles on SmackDown? The Hart Dynasty is up next. And I've made this opinion, they should swap out the tag teams. I don't think they should. Mainly because I thought about it and realized that Brad and the British Bulldog would do better as singles competitors. Tyson and David would just swim. So this is kind of the most unfortunate circumstance for these two that you could possibly get. They're forced to be in a tag team when they're not good working with each other because the only other people in their faction are better singles competitors. It just kind of sucks. But of course, number 1 contenders match. I don't know why I even put the screen in the video, to be honest. And CM Punk! David tries to get the upper hand, but CM checkered pattern? Really? And CM Punk, of course, just immediately fighting the good fight with David Hart Smith. And now just go up to the top rope. Yes, yes, no! It's too late! And David dodged anyways, but it was too late to begin with. That's the expert opinion of the day. Kind of shocked that these two still even bother to fight each other. Like, you think at a certain point David Hart Smith would just say enough is enough and put an end to this rivalry that's causing them to fight. David Hart using CM Punk's own, I beg to argue, hubris against him. But David is not ready to... He's ready to crash the game. And now the Straight Edge Society has attacked the Hart Foundation. And I didn't get the buff. And that is a... He's just going for the finish? Oh, is that it? Count. 1, 2. Tyson Kidd breaks up the pin. And now the elbows straight to the heart from CM Punk. CM Punk got him up, got him up, got him up. That's a GTS. Dragging him across the floor. Luke Gallows isn't very good at getting him out of the way. But Luke Gallows is still in the ring. He could do something, and he does nothing. You gotta be kidding me. And now he's not even on the apron, so CM Punk has to keep another bit of elbows. CM Punk is determined to get this match himself. He is gonna make sure that these two pay for their inconceivable crimes of existing, I guess. And that's a reverse DDT. David Arn Smith could go tag in Tyson right now. And he is. But he's not quick enough. And CM Punk hits a GTS. Gotta drag him away from the ropes again. Luke Gallows this time at least gets him off the apron. And now we go to a 1. We go to a 2. We get to a 3. And the Straight Edge Society are the #1 contenders for the Unified Tag Titles. Like they fucking should be. CM Punk and Luke Gallows may not have gotten the win they wanted from exerting themselves, but hey, they won. That will matter, right? Is that what matter? I think that would matter. The rankings are refusing to tell me if there's updates. I guess this time there wasn't an update, though. Anyways, it's Kane versus Cena. And we have the Pyromaniac. The man himself, Kane. Now, I like to think that Kane is not too fond of Raw, considering he's barely shown up on it, but tonight he's in the main event against John Cena. If you don't watch Superstars, I don't know who this man is. But let me tell you, he is one sick bastard. He betrayed MVP for no reason. MVP did nothing. And Cena still told him to fuck off. And the worst part, Kane won't care who Cena is. Kane will only care if Cena's a meatbag that he can sling around the ring however he pleases. It doesn't matter what Cena's done or what he does. Kane will always treat him exactly the same, and that's the beauty of Kane, is that it really doesn't matter what you do, who you are, what your ideas and how things should be. It just matters that you can be beaten and that you are a human being that can be targeted. That is the motto of the big machine himself, Kane. And Kane with a no hip toss. Cena refuses to die, but neither does Kane. Cena's been waiting months for a match. It's been a minute since he's been on Monday Night Raw, and he looks to use this time to prove that he can come to Raw and clean house. Back chop to the throat immediately gets going, but Cena fights back like he always does. Despite everything, Cena hasn't given up. He's wanted this, he's gonna do it. It's just that right now, it doesn't matter how he does it. It just matters that he does it. That's not the most respectful thing ever. It's not the most loyal thing ever, but I suppose that doesn't really matter that much. Now does it? And the ref gets in the way of Kane. Kane doesn't care, though. He isn't even acknowledging that the referee did anything. He's just continuing to beat down on Cena. Another hip toss. What's next? Fucking reversing a clothesline into a goddamn... I don't know what it's called. I genuinely don't remember. And that's a throw. Again, we see the side of Kane that will manhandle your shit in. That's just a part of who Kane is. There's not a good way to avoid that. Throwing you over the ropes isn't gonna help. But Kane reverses a shoulder tackle somehow into throwing him high into the sky. 5-knuckle punch, but Kane just doesn't benefit Kane to give a shit about what's happening to him. He should be dead anyway. Worrying about that will only make his current life worse. And that is a double choke and throw down. Just throwing him back down to the ground and back into the reality that he is in. He doesn't get to play make-believe. Kane hits a massive body slam and look at the kick. Kicks him up with the throat. Surprised he doesn't just go for the throat with that throat and then pick him up and put him down. But Cena's still going, and Kane will too. Kane throwing Cena to the outside even. He's willing to do literally anything to get this man down and out. Cena waits patiently, and that is a throw straight into the announce table, but barely bumping the side of it. Hell, part of him even hit the timekeeper's area, thankfully completely missing the bell due to its alignment. Cena pushing Kane off to get into the ring faster, and that is a massive sidewalk slam. What the hell? And now Kane just hitting him with the world-famous choke slam again, this time in a much better position where he doesn't have to drag him. 1, 2, deuces, ooses. That's it for this episode of Monday Night Raw. And we end the go-home show with Kane, a man that won't be at Night of Champions, standing tall against another man who probably won't be at Night of Champions.
Foreshadowing is a narrative device.
You see the problem yet? Because I do. What the fuck? It did move Kane up above Shad and The Miz, so there actually is a chance that Kane gets into the US title match. But also Luke Gallows. So, fuck me. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's cooking. That's cooking. That is a big fatal four-way. But first, Rock Sack? The Rock has arrived on Superstars, but he is not happy about it. In a post he wrote on Twitter, he said the following. But his opponent is Zack Ryder, someone we haven't seen a lot of on SmackDown recently. And now thus he is appearing on here. Now, I don't know if you would want Zack Ryder to be on Superstars. Not yet, anyway. But The Rock is cool. I like The Rock. I don't think Zack Ryder's damn much of a chance against The Rock, but I do think that Zack Ryder should be getting more than he currently is. I mean, he's a former IC champ, isn't he? Why is he on opening match of Superstars? But it's at the same time that I say it's a little unfair to put him against The Rock, because The Rock has been pretty strong, even if he is a massive bully towards David Otunga. Almost said David Hart Smith. That's the wrong guy. Going for it. High drop kick by Zack Ryder. Shades of Maven. Which I'm gonna be really shocked if Maven isn't in like one of the next 3 2K games. Like genuinely, he is like that close to being in a 2K wrestling game. It's only a matter of time before he gets asked. But The Rock and Zack Ryder are fighting, fight for fight, and that is a massive elbow drop, but recently people have just been missing their commitments on these drops. Neck breakers all around for those that do hit him though, which then begs the question of why is The Rock doing them? He just missed one. But The Rock takes Zack's head clean off, so I guess we're not in the right mindset to be questioning The Rock right now. Rock, some people would say he's charismatic, others would say he's just an asshole, some say both actually. Like Kevin Hart, Zack Ryder just trying to get in whatever he can against The Rock, but it isn't working to the effectiveness that he would like. In fact, he's out of there. He's out of the ring, and The Rock is just telling him to get back in, and The Rock tells him again, he didn't take advantage of the situation. The fans are telling him to get in the ring, and they're just not. And he's just not. But thankfully, he reversed whatever The Rock had coming, and now it seems that he might be getting control of this match from that move. So you know what? I can't really say anything about it. But The Rock balances it out with a huge spine buster, but Zack doesn't go. And wait, Rock bottom by The Rock. That's it. 1, 2, that ends the match. Rock beats Ryder. Can't Ryder Rock. Or I guess can't Zack a the. Can't Zack a Rock. Can't Zack a the. I don't know why that took 4 attempts to say. In terms of the rankings, that did nothing. That didn't even move Zack down from his #1 contender's position, which, by the way, he's the #1 contender for the IC title. Are you for real? MVP, Cody Rhodes, you know how it goes. And he's coming because MVP is out here tonight, and, well, something's always gotta happen with MVP and his attire. I don't know what this guy keeps in his bag that he keeps spilling on his goddamn clothes, but he needs to stop doing it. It's getting on my nerves. Now, thankfully, we have the tag team partner, Brie. Brie decided to be in this match because Nikki fucked it up last week. That's the only reason why she's even in this match. Otherwise, I think Nikki would have been here. Why is there a Michelle McCool style cross patch on MVP's attire? Hello? Show who your allegiances are to. Jesus. Literally. And then adding to another step in the saga between MVP and Cody Rhodes, it's this match. These two just can't leave each other the fuck alone, can they? No, they're not allowed to. They gotta fight the good fight until there's no more good fight left. It's ridiculous. And in my personal opinion, dumb as fuck. But whatever. 2 people can't put a grudge away. Common practice. And then there's Michelle McCool, the current reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Divas Champion of the world. That's it. Really. When the status quo stays the same, there's nothing much to talk about with Michelle McCool. Cody aims to not end this match like the last mixed tag match where Trips accidentally hit Michelle McCool with a chop, causing Punk to accidentally win the match. Something along those lines. Alright, I'm sure the teams aren't entirely accurate, but that's just what happened. And I think everything is going to be happening to make sure that doesn't happen again, because everyone agreed, especially on Cage Match, that was a horrible match. That drop kick was eerily close to Michelle McCool, but it would have been an own team strike, meaning there would have been no disqualification. None at all. If you hit your own tag partner, it doesn't count, even for DQs. You could hit your tag partner with a steel chair. You're just hurting yourself at the end of the day. CM Punk goes up. Brie Bella maybe trying to throw him down, but oh, the splash didn't hit anyways. Thankfully, CM Punk. Cody Rhodes is a master of figuring shit out as he goes. And now Cody Rhodes doing the double drop down into a hip toss. Knee, the pop down, pop up knee. Which knee is your favorite? The pop down knee or the pop up knee? Hint, it depends on where you like your knees. Cody Rhodes just can't get whatever it is that he's trying to get off though. Was that going for Bella? I did not expect to see them put up an animation for someone pulling up their tights, but I guess that is a common concern that you would have, yes. Cody has his MVP down, but a poke to the eye just gets MVP in the perfect position. Spurt for the stupid DDT. Why did he have that as a finish? Whatever. Ref goes for the pin. Counted 1, counted 2. Nikki got fucking folded. Sorry, Brie got fucking folded. And Cody wins with Michelle. What a match. Cody and Michelle McCool win tonight's match, and I don't think Cody or Michelle really care. It's nice to win, but it's even better to win a regular match, not a mixed tag match. At least in their eyes. At least in their eyes, says as a commentator that is very clearly biased. That moved Mark above MVP. Shockingly, MVP and Mark Henry are still friends. And here is a Fatal 4 match. And we welcome you to the main event of Superstars, and out first is David Otunga. Now, David did get his wish. The Rock is still on Superstars, but he wasn't in a match with him tonight. But he's in another match with Jake the Snake Roberts, and I'm gonna be so for real, I'm kind of tired of seeing him fight the guy. I know the revenge is sweet, but how many times can you give revenge before you realize that enough is enough and to bury the hatchet? I don't even say you have to like the guy. I just say stop fucking hating him already for one thing he did 3 months ago. Is that fair? I think that's fair. And then you have the greatest pyro of all time. And then you have the greatest wrestler of all time. His name might just be, he's gonna say it in a second, Rob Van Dam. What a man to look at and say, hey, I like this guy. Look, the snake's red and everything. It's got a yellow tongue. This attire just goes hard, even if it isn't based on anything, because I don't think this attire is actually based on any RVD attire. And then there's a crash. And then we have the guy in the crowd holding the Rob Van Dam sign while Jake the Snake Roberts is coming out. The fucking dumbass. But it is Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake still hasn't used Damien. I don't think he ever will. Does the bag even have a snake in it? Is it just a prop by this point? Genuinely might just be a prop. And honestly, if he wants to admit that it's just a prop, my DMs are open. Austin 316. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Do I got any more buzzwords surrounding Austin? Rattlesnake. ATV. Is that considered? I guess that wouldn't be considered a buzzword. That's more like a descriptive. That's more like a thing that he uses. Well, then what the fuck is 316 then? And wait a minute, this Fatal 4-Way match is a Falls Count Anywhere match now. Alright, shit, I ain't complaining. This just means more fun for me. And Austin, Jake immediately went for Austin, despite the fact Austin was trying to go for Rob Van Dam. That was ridiculous. And mind you, now that this match Falls Count Anywhere, that means they can do pretty much anything, unlike before where they were restricted to ring only pretty much. Austin isn't going to let Jake get away that easily though. Bulldog here and a bulldog there. Everybody go. Did Rob Van Dam try to do a running dive attack? Okay, he picked it back up if that was what he was trying to do. Rob, buddy. Alright, I guess I'm fighting David. Rob Van Dam's going for a thing, but Austin doesn't care. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't think I've ever seen a more disappointing end to a Fatal 4-Way match. That shit was hyped up and everything. And all Rob had to do to win was pull Jake's arms. How did that make David and Jake's relationship worse? They didn't do anything. Austin went after Jake, then Jake went after Rob, and Jake lost. What? Just move on to SmackDown. So one of these matches doesn't matter. One of these matches doesn't matter. One of these matches is weird, and one of these matches is Chris Jericho versus The Undertaker in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Sweet. Thanks. And we are live tonight from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and our World Heavyweight Heavyweight Champion is opening this episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Why? Chris Jericho asked for a match before Night of Champions, 2 days before, mind you, with The Undertaker. Now, what is Chris Jericho's plan? Obviously, it's to weaken the champion for easier pinfalls. What is this game's plan? To crash at every minor inconvenience! Are you... Alright, you know what? Fine. No, we just won't record SmackDown then. Fine. Fuck you. Oh, you thought that was the end of the episode, huh? You're wrong. Mama didn't raise a quitter. Mainly because Mama didn't raise me, but still. Same fucking spot? This one isn't a full crash, but I'm just gonna restart the game. We welcome you live to Friday Night SmackDown from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And apparently Chris Jericho just doesn't learn his lesson. Tonight, he challenged The Undertaker to a match, and that match is Falls Count Anywhere. Why would Jericho do this 2 days before the pay-per-view? Fuck if I know. But all I do know is that Jericho is gonna go to hell and back for no reason. And then, of course, you have The Undertaker. Now, the World Heavyweight Champion, in 2 days, will also be facing a huge challenge. Probably the first real challenge of his world title reign so far. He's gonna have to defend against 4 other superstars in a championship scramble match. Now, this championship scramble match is going to be very, very hard to pinpoint down exactly what will happen. We only know 4 of the 5 participants. The 5th participant is still at large a mystery. But until we figure out who that 5th participant is, which might be later tonight, we'll just have to wait and see. And Big Show's in the crowd. At least that stops him from invading the match. And Jericho, getting ahead of The Undertaker. Maybe he is learning. But no, he's not. Okay. Never mind. I am sorry to The Undertaker for ever doubting him. The more Taker swings, the more Jericho is having a poor time here. And the fans are chanting for Taker very faintly, but you can hear it. They don't want Jericho winning this match. And to be fair, with the performance he's having so far, he doesn't exactly deserve to win this. In my personal opinion, Jericho could have been on a comeback tour if he was smarter by this point, but he just isn't. And that's a little sad if your name starts with Chris and ends with Jericho. Jericho throwing Taker into the corner, but he just doesn't go in the corner. Thankfully, this time it matters. But Taker puts him in the corner anyways and just clotheslines him, so who cares? I just don't know what this move is supposed to be. The correct way of saying that sentence was, I don't know what that move is supposed to be. I don't know why I said I never know what that move is. It's like it's the most incorrect statement I've ever fucking said. I mean, you could probably make an entire compilation video out of statements I've said that have just been incorrect in one way or another. Nice job. And Jericho again chokeslam? No, reversing it just like always. It always seems like Jericho's gonna fight back, and then he gets chokeslam. And it's the and then part that matters. Taker picking up Jericho, but Jericho gets out of it. Oh wait, Jericho going for a powerbomb on Taker. How did Taker even get out of that one? And Taker, just a few days before Night of Champions, looking to give Jericho his last ride. That is it for Chris Jericho. 1, 2... That is the end of Jericho. For now. We'll see you on Sunday, Jericho. Chris Jericho lost to Taker. Is this foreshadowing? Is Jericho not going to be able to do anything against Taker? Remember, the rules of a championship scramble dictate you have to pin the champion. So the first person has to pin The Undertaker. It'll be interesting to see if anyone can put the dead man down. I don't buy a single person pinning The Undertaker, by the way. And I'm allowed to say that because the championship scramble matches are going to be AI controlled. I have no involvement in the match. I know. Shocked. I said I was going to play almost every match. That's the almost part. The only other match that I do not play is the Royal Rumble. Jericho and Taker's relationship got even worse, and Jack Swagger's 3rd. Please don't tell me Jack Swagger's gonna be the 5th man. Let it be Kofi. I'd be fine with anyone on this list except for Jack Swagger and Vance Archer. Also, that moved Big Show above Chris Jericho. Anyways, here's a Fatal 4-Way. SmackDown continues with a massive Fatal 4-Way match. Evan Bourne is out here tonight in a Fatal 4-Way match with his fellow tag partner Kofi Kingston, Primo, and Santino. It seems like a culmination of most of the participants from last week's 2 matches. Now, I'm not entirely too sure that Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston shouldn't just be fighting Primo and Santino, considering they both were the ones that should have been teaming last time anyways. But we may see another crack at this game freezing. And then there's his tag team partner, Kofi Kingston. And although I do think this should be a tag team match realistically, it makes more sense for it to be a fatal four-way in all honesty. I mean, Evan and Kofi are relatively new as a tag team. Primo and Santino aren't even a tag team. It probably should be a fatal four-way. I just don't like the fact that Evan and Kofi can go after each other if they're going to be a tag team. But, not up to me. It's the SmackDown general manager, so I can't say shit. And then there's Primo, the Intercontinental Champion. You think this is a sort of semi-number one contenders match? I mean, we haven't really heard anything about the number one contendership from what I remember. So maybe Primo is just winning. Who fucking knows? I don't, that's for sure. And then there's Santino Marella. Remember when this guy was in a tag team with Vladimir Kozlov? Yeah, I know, it was weird. The pairing was weird. The ideas are weird. Santino's values are still being called into question to this day. It was just kind of a mess. I'd rather we actually not remember that. But wait, this match is a Falls Count Anywhere match. Why? Why not? Tension, drama, action. And Evan is immediately going after Santino, but it seems that Primo wanted Evan and now going after Primo. Santino got caught up in it, but it wasn't Evan's intention for him to be the main target of that match. Evan with a nice drop kick onto Santino. Primo gets Kofi off the thing, and Evan doesn't really want to fight. Evan doesn't want to fight Kofi. That's a bridge. I don't think, if I'm gonna be honest, that Evan cares about actually stopping Kofi from winning the match. Evan Bourne going to the outside to hit Primo with the chair and just chair shot after chair shot after chair shot. I've never seen two people go so far up the ramp in a fatal four-way match. And with a kick to the midsection, roll up on the outside, the ref has to go and count the pin from the ring. And that's not it! Are you kidding me? How is that not it? It was 2.99 on the outside. The only thing that could have stopped that pin count from going smoothly was the ref. I think Evan just realized that in order to get his move off, he actually has to take Primo somewhere. Low blow by Primo. Primo keeps reversing whatever Evan wants to do. Kofi and Santino are just having a little lollygag, I would say. Kofi's on the apron. Kofi hitting Santino with a splash. Evan tries the same on Primo, but only knocks him off the apron. Kofi's going for a similar level of splash. Evan with a standing moonsault onto Primo. Kofi's just doing dives. Evan's hitting the shooting star press. Santino's doing a kicking Kofi in the balls. This match is over! Santino was too busy trying to get rid of Kofi to realize that Evan Bourne was just beating up Primo on the outside. And Evan Bourne is just being the Intercontinental Champion clean, with very little involvement from Santino and Kofi. Could this be Evan Bourne's ticket into becoming one half of the Unified Tag Champs? I mean, possibly, but I was more thinking of the Intercontinental Champion. The rankings say that Evan went above Christian and Vance. So yeah, that's a part of his ticket. Why is Ted enemies with Archer? Speaking of number one contenders, it's Beth Phoenix versus Maryse. The women's champion is being contended for despite there never being a women's title match on a pay-per-view since the regime change. Maryse walks tonight and she will get her wish. Now, I don't really think that Maryse really should be here. Not in the number one contenders match, at least. I don't think she's number one contenders material yet, but considering that the women's title has been uncontested for 3 months, going on 4, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that Maryse could probably win this match and have nothing happen from it. Speaking of people that win matches, Beth Phoenix is coming out, and well, she's attacking Maryse. What a shocker. These two just don't like each other. I think I've seen them attack each other before. Whether Maryse started it or not is not important right now. Beth Phoenix going for her classic suplex. Maryse turning it into a suplex of her own. But Beth just goes for it again. Maryse turns it into another suplex. Beth is gonna have to mix it up eventually. Wait. Reversing, and then finally that suplex gets hit proper. But Maryse just doesn't want to go down. And it is a number one contenders match, so what the hell? That leg grab was so quick, I didn't even think she grabbed the leg. But a pin count for Beth Phoenix, 1 and 2 and 3. Beth Phoenix has defeated Maryse, and she will go to probably not Night of Champions. Even though it's called Night of Champions, there's only 6 matches, so one title will always not be defended. Which is really sad, because it's called Night of Champions, so it should be, well, the Night of Champions. We just add a 7th match, and Beth Phoenix, despite attacking Maryse, goes for the handshake. You are in the wrong, ma'am. I don't mean to be a dick, but you are wrong. What's the point of that? And that made their relationship worse, because why not? And that didn't change anything, because it was the #1 contenders match. Maurice didn't even move lower than Kelly Kelly, which, by the way, I like how this women's roster has all of the women that I actually like at the bottom, and all of the women I don't care for, except for Beth Phoenix at the top. That's really cool, guys. Let's keep doing that. Anyways, final match, Ted DiBiase versus The Big Show. And we welcome you to the main event of Friday Night SmackDown. The Big Show is out here tonight to finally figure out who the #1 contender is for the World Heavyweight Championship. We discussed that the match is a championship scramble match, so it doesn't really matter, but Ted wants to win anyways. And Big Show now fighting back in the way that he knows how. Big Show could just throw this match out by attacking him with a chair, but I don't think anyone wants to see that, and Big Show isn't going to let them see that. He is going to take this up the ramp, though. Very far up the ramp. Multiple suplexes worth of being up the ramp, right onto the steel. Ted dodged. Big Show gets in a headbutt anyway somehow. I don't know how that worked. Ted DiBiase just isn't letting Big Show get in any offense. And honestly, good strategy. Just don't let your opponent get in offense and you won't have to worry about it later. But the body blow, just nope, it's power slam. Big Show throwing Ted DiBiase into the steps, maybe getting too cocky after that one, but Ted stayed down for just long enough for it to work out. And Big Show has been pretty dominant in the last few weeks. If he's not fighting The Undertaker, his track record against The Undertaker is a little spotty, I'll admit it. More headbutts, failed headbutts, more headbutts. Big Show's got this in the ring and he wants to... No, he doesn't. But the match is officially started, even though that's not how that should work. Both wrestlers have to be actually in the ring. Ted is just shoving off Ted DiBiase, though. Wrong way around. You think it would be the other way around, but what the hell's the Big Show doing? Big Show with a massive splash onto Ted. I'm shocked that he's still alive after that one. Spear? That's not a good combination. Primo? Big Show's going to the outside to contest this. Body blow. Primo says no. Primo again saying no. Primo. Body knockout punch to Primo. And not done. He's going after Primo more. And Ted's just watching and letting him get attacked. Do something, Ref. Big Show's gonna assault your fellow prideful and you're doing nothing. He's back in the ring. Big Show isn't gonna stop. Wait. Primo stops it for him, and Primo realizes here and now that he just needs to run. And I think Big Show is done assaulting. Ted would rather taunt than help out his fellow Puerto Rican prideful. That goes to show you what kind of a man Ted DiBiase is. Ted DiBiase is trying to end this match early, going for a submission tap out on the Big Show, but he lets go before anything serious can happen. Massive headbutt. I think Ted might be on drugs because he's a little dazed and not aware of what's going on around him. Headbutts all around. Now Big Show intentionally using a headbutt to make a point, and now the fans are chanting for Legacy, even though Legacy doesn't exist. Cody's on Raw. Orton's on Raw. Ted's alone. He's with Primo now, but Primo can't help against the Big Show, and Big Show beats Ted. How can a man sit there and say he's prideful for a country when he won't help his fellow countrymen? That is the question I ask as we end this episode of SmackDown. But that's it for this episode. I am tempted to give you a, you know what? It would be nice. Give you a preview of Night of Champions. That was expected. That was not expected. He is so far down the list. Excuse me? That mattered? That mattered. Tune in next week to watch the worst pay-per-view ever. Until that pay-per-view, I'll see you next time. There's not much more to talk about. That pay-per-view's gonna suck.